Good afternoon, Esther Berry with Esther's Ministries. I'm so happy to be with you today. We've been talking about the voice of God, hearing the voice of God. And the last segment we talked about angels speaking to us with messages from the voice of God, from the voice of God. And I've had that experience in my walk with the Lord. The first time it happened was when I went on 11-day fast. I saw angels. I didn't talk to them and they didn't talk to me. I was actually a little stunned by it, and but the Lord showed me demons and angels, and I said, Lord, could I just see angels from now on? You can speak to the Lord from your heart, and anyway, he's really honored me in that. And then the next time I saw an angel was an all-night prayer group. We had met for a year at a television station that had a huge roof, and we were praying at 3 o'clock in the morning. We met every Friday for 24 hours, and we prayed all night long. At 4 o'clock in the morning, 8 of us were sitting in a circle. We're just praying quietly, and Angel Gabriel appeared. And this was 28 years ago. He appeared, and we all got a glimpse of him. And I saw his feet, and I saw the armor. He was wearing armor. And I knew he had big wings, and I knew he was 12, 14 feet tall. And he had the most beautiful face, but it was hard to look at him because it was supernatural. And the others, again, saw him. They had different, but we all, after he left, we all talked about it. And he came with a message, and the message was for the church. And he said, this is the church's final, greatest hour. He said, so fear not, don't be afraid. I've come with a message. There's great wickedness in high places. And at the time he gave the prophecy, I really didn't know what he was talking about, but I wrote it down, and he said, great wickedness in high places, but fear not, for this is the church's greatest hour. And then I searched out the Bible, and I found out that high places are usually high areas in government. It's the high seats that these men and women hold, and of course today, 28 years later, we can see that there's great wickedness, because it's all being revealed to us. If you have eyes, let them see, and ears to hear. So that was Gabriel. And then I was on a plane to Israel, and I was on a plane with a young prophet. In fact, the Lord brought a young prophet into my heart, into my life. And he was so funny. He had a head of hair, black hair. I think he was Italian, but I'm sure he had Jewish roots, because he looked like a Jewish person. But he had this huge black head of hair. And I thought to myself, if I had seen Solomon in the days of Solomon, this young man would look like him. He was strong, and he had all this hair. And not Solomon, Samson. Samson was the one that was told not to cut his hair. But this young man was very neatly dressed, but he was a prophet. We were sitting on the plane going to Israel, and we were going over Turkey when the angel of Michael came on the plane, and he laid on top of the plane going over Turkey. And I said, Michael is here. I saw him. The young prophet said, Michael is here. And I said, he's coming to protect us over Turkey. That was it. So then the next encounter was in Brazil. Chris and I went to Brazil to meet with a worship leader. We were part of a group of about 85 missionaries. We went to Brazil, and the young man would hear from heaven, and he would play heaven's music. And as he worshipped and played the music, that's why worship is so important. Listen to anointed music, old, new, whatever. Make sure it's anointed, because it will bring you into realms of the supernatural that you can't even explain, but you just know in your knower. Anyway, we're in Brazil. We went there to meet this young man, and we were told that while we were in the service, that if we had angelic visitations, that this was a normal occurrence with his worship. Well, everyone was we were in the sanctuary. My husband, he was seeing angels dancing, multitude of angels. People, we were giving testimony after the service of angelic beings. I only saw an angel in the corner of the church that looked like Michael, and my mind was playing terrible games with me and was saying, oh, Michael's the archangel of Israel, he can't be here in Brazil. And my face, some of our faces talk, you know, sometimes when we're tired, we look tired. When we're happy, we're happy. Anyway, our faces talk. And the pastor came up to me after the service and he said, Esther, you look troubled. And I said, well, everyone is having all these visitations and all I see is an angel in the corner, a big angel, looking after us. He's huge, but he looks like Michael. And that was when the pastor laughed and he said, Esther, Michael has a company of angels. And it set me free. See, God was speaking through this pastor, and I had to go to Brazil to hear that word. But let me tell you why, the true reason we went to Brazil. The angel visitation was an extra. We went to Brazil because the 42-year-old worship leader had a wife, had 2 children, drove a car, paid his bills, had a checking account. And when he was 6 years old, his grandmother prayed with him because he had been born with Down syndrome and was totally and completely healed. And we saw it. Our eyes saw it. We saw the flat head that is typical for Down syndrome children. We saw the little round face, but we met a man who was living a normal life. A normal life. He was living a supernatural life because he was hearing from heaven. So are angels real? Yes, I feel they're very real. And I feel that in today's society, we need angelic visitations. When Robert was 5 and I sent him to school, my heart was broken. Remember, I told you this at another time in another series. My heart was broken because my little boy was going to a public school, and there was Robert, and I was taking him and putting him on the bus. And the Lord said, Esther, look around. And I had my hand on this little boy's hand, and I looked around and saw my son's angel. Just for a second, I saw his guardian angel. And the Lord spoke to my heart and said, I am with Robert. Do not worry. So life goes on. You know, you're having children, happily married, having trials and tribulations just like everybody else. And we adopt 5 children. When we're 60 years old, we adopt 5 children, and we move into a big house in Parrish, Florida. We're so happy. We're just, we've got a great church. We're building schools for special needs children. We're having a great life. And we get a call from a parent who says, he had a special needs daughter who went to one of our campuses in Spring Hill, and he said, Esther, there's nothing in Bell, Florida for special needs. Would you come? See, God was talking through that man because I said yes. And you know, the Bible said, let your yes be yes and your no be no. Learn this lesson today. It's okay to say no, but here am I saying yes. I don't even know where Bell, Florida is. I've never heard of it. But I did want a bell on my school, one of my schools, so my children could hear the bell when they went to school, because when I grew up, a bell rang for me to come to school, and I was always on time. When that bell rang, I knew I had to run. Such a lovely sound. But see, again, God has a great sense of humor. Watch what you pray for, because here I am now, and I'm in my 60s. I think I'm close to 68, 69, and I'm opening a school in Bell, Florida. And at this point, we have superintendent, because we have about eight or nine campuses. We have several hundred children, and God is saying, my superintendent is saying, who's going to be the principal of this school? And I open my big mouth and I say, I am. Oh boy. So my husband's remodeling this school, and our family, and but at that point I have 2 daughters at the home, and I have Robert in another home, and we are moving to Bell, Florida, and just fall in love with the people of Bell. My goodness. See, when God's calling you to do something and your life is changing, He's going to make it enjoyable for you. He's going to give you peace. Now, we were in Bell, Florida. We were remodeling this beautiful daycare into a day school, and we were meeting the people, having fun, and we were living in our camper because we hadn't sold our house in Parish, and we hadn't found anything yet in Bell to live in. And so, you know, we were living in our camper, and it had been a year, and we were starting to get weary. Don't get weary with well-doing, because in due season you will reap that which you've sown. That's what the word tells us. We don't want to be murmuring and complaining. So I told my daughters, do not complain, because we're going to find a house. So on the next series, I'll tell you about the angels that visited me when we moved. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. We're here to pray for you. We've got lots of things to offer you, so join our team. Join our group and have fun. God bless.